Hello everyone, Big Seven here, back for another SuperCoach BBL video. I'm going to be going through my team today. There's a day out from the start of the tournament, but I'm fairly content with the team that I've built. Obviously, there's a decent chance that I'll do some tinkering tomorrow, but I'm pretty happy with this team. So we'll just get straight into it. Starting with the Sydney Thunder players, these are the players that I guess I want to start with when I'm building a team because they've got two sets of doubles in the first 2 weeks. I'm going to be starting 6 Thunder players with a plan to boost probably in week 3 to get the majority of them out because they've got 2 doubles in the first 2 weeks and the bye in week 3. Jilks, I've got in my team. I wasn't 100% sure on him earlier on, but he is expected to open, capable of scoring fast and scoring some decent scores. So at under 100k, I'm prepared to take that risk. It isn't too much of a risk if it backfires. The other keeper with the double is Joe Clark. The other viable keeper with the double is Joe Clark. Just a bit expensive for me. I'm going to take the savings here at the keeper spot. In terms of batsmen, I've got the entire Thunder opening order, basically. So opening with Jilks will be Alex Hales. Again, explosive player capable of scoring very well. And then the other two, Riley Rousseau and Jason Sanger. Jason Sanger is that higher price point, maybe a tad overpriced, but I also think with his brother Tanvir Sanger not in the lineup, I think there's a decent chance that he bowls more. And they've only really got the one really elite spinner. So I think Sanger is a good chance to see some overs as well. Isn't in the greatest form in, I think, Shield cricket, but I'm prepared to go against the form in this scenario. The bowlers I've selected, Daniel Sams, I've actually got him in my batting line, but he is more of a bowling all-rounder. There was some doubts over his fitness, but apparently he did play a practice match on Friday, so I'm assuming that he's good to go. He should be bowling the death as well, which is the best time for a bowler to bowl, really, because although you can be a bit more expensive, a much higher chance of picking up bowls, and we want bowlers that can take wickets. I mean, there is bonuses for economy, but the bowlers that score really well are the ones that do take the wickets. The other bowler I've gone for, a bit unsure about his scenario, is Faruqi, I think is how to say the name. So the Thunder have got 4 internationals. They've got Hales, Russo, Faruqi, and they've also got Usman Khadir. And I think that Faruqi is the better of the two bowlers. I'm pretty sure Hales and Russo will play every game that they're available. So there might be some games where Khadir plays because it might be a better pitch for spin. But I think generally Faruqi will be the one that plays. I guess I'll be monitoring this right up until tomorrow. Obviously, if Faruqi doesn't play, then I won't start him. I'm not really that hot on Khadir, so if Khadir did play over Faruqi, I wouldn't be playing Khadir. I would probably go down to a McAndrew, I think. On to the other teams with doubles. That would be the Strikers and the Stars. So, as my batsman, I've got Marcus Stoinis, who's just far too cheap. 83k, didn't bowl last tournament, and also was out of form, managing a shoulder issue. He's in 70% of teams. Frankly, that figure is a little bit low. He has been opening in previous seasons, and he's going to slot back into a middle order kind of role, but I think just with the depth of the Stars batting lineup not being there, that still leads to him having a decent opportunity in from a batting point of view, but also from a bowling point of view. Glenn Maxwell being injured means that I think Stoinis will bowl somewhere between 2 and 4 overs in pretty much every game. So Stoinis, 83k, absolute lock. And that leaves 4 spaces for bowlers. First one I've gone for is Rashid Khan, just to set and forget. Premium every year. Afghani international. There isn't really too much to say other than that he's a gun. Put him in your side, and go with him. The next one I have is I've got Trent Bolt. He is a bit pricey, 180k. I could make an argument for going without him and going for a Siddle or a Short. But I think Trent Bolt, he should, he's a good international. Hasn't played here in the Big Bash, but obviously has on the international stage. Is a bit expensive, but I'm willing to ride him. And then the other two that I've gone for are a bit cheaper. So I've gone for Adam Zampa, 103k, international standard, will bowl his 4 overs. They will need him to step up this year. He's more than capable of doing that. So 103k, happy to put him in my side. And then the last one, it's a bit of a dicey one, but it is Colin de Grandhomme. And I think this is probably the definition of a boom or bust pick. So in terms of batting, I think he will bat around about 5. He's capable of scoring fast with the bat. But yeah, batting at 5 means he might not get the opportunity, and there's also the chance he can go out pretty cheaply. And in terms of bowling, I think he'll be the 5th bowling option. Him and Matt Short will be splitting the 5th bowling option at the strikers. So if Matt Short does really well with the ball, then I think de Grandhomme will have games where he might only bowl 1 or 2 overs. If Short has a bad over and de Grandhomme bowls really well, I could see him bowling 3 and 4 in some games. So I guess the way I see it is he's kind of a bit like Dan Christian is at the Sixers. Not really a secure job role. There will be games where he scores really low. I think there are games where he can score really high. So I'm willing to take that chance at 125k. And then onto the bench. So I've got my 11 doubles for this week. So it's more about planning towards future weeks. At the wicketkeeper, I've gone with Josh Inglis. I guess, the thing with Perth is their lineup is pretty unsettled. So they do have the double next week, but I'm kind of waiting to see a bit more news before I fully commit to all of them. So with this lineup, I've got 6 Thunder players. So I'm looking to get 4 or 5 Scorchers in for next week, which means I'm not going to be boosting, which means I need to start 2 of them. So I've kind of tried to pick players that I think are going to be pretty secure. So Josh Inglis, he's clearly going to be in their best lineup. I'm not exactly sure where he bats. He can bat anywhere between 1 and 5. I think his best position is as an opener, but more likely to bat around 3 or 4. 87k, he is pretty cheap, has done better in previous seasons. And with Mitch Marsh missing the tournament as well, I think they're going to really need to rely on Inglis and Ashton Turner, who I haven't gone for in this team, but I have been considering. I think those are the 2 that Perth are going to be relying on a bit more, and I think they will do better than they have in previous seasons. On to the batsmen. So with Perth in mind, I've decided to go for a bowler, but it's actually in my batting lineup just because of the way the team worked. That's Ashton Agar. So if I go and look at the bowlers, they've got a lot of pace bowlers in there. They've got Tamal Mills, Richardson, Ty Behrendorff, also Matt Kelly. I'm just not 100% sure what their makeup is going to be of the pace bowlers. Like I would expect Ty to play. Richardson I would expect to play if he's fit. Mills I'd expect to play probably. I'm just not 100% sure on the makeup of that team in terms of pace bowlers. But in terms of the spin options, Ashton Agar is the very obvious number 1. He should bowl 4 overs every game. Also capable of pitching in with a bat. So he's 160k. It's a lot to leave on the bench for week 1, but looking towards next week, I'm going to want 5 Scorchers players. I'm happy with the team that I've put out for this week, so I'm able to have that luxury of keeping the extra money on the bench and using that for next week. And then I guess that leaves 3 players that are a bit. I guess these are going to be a bit more pod because there's a lot more freedom in terms of who you're picking in these positions. I'll start with my loophole, actually. I've gone for Cooper Conley. There are other players you can pick around the 42 or 62k range that are a chance of playing. So, yeah, there are quite a lot of guys that have been performing well at like a Premier Cricket level or in practice games. I really, I don't know, for the sake of 20k or the sake of a player that you might play 1 week, I'm not really sure if it's worth it. So I've gone for Cooper Conley, who incidentally was travelling with the Australian team, which I think was just as a substitute fielder. But 42k, he's the only guy that has batting or bowling dual positions. So I think that'll help me in future weeks if I'm trading and I'll say I wanted to get Agar down into my bowling line, then I think Connolly is the way to go with that. And yes, there are 62, 42k options, but I don't think they're strong enough to field. So I've gone for Conley here. And so that leaves 230k for me to go with 2, I guess, different players. So the first one, I've kind of gone pretty safe. As you can see up in the top right, that the Sixers have a week 5 double. So in this position, I'm looking to pick either Sixers, Renegades, or Heat player. I've gone with the Sixers player. I've gone with a player that I think is pretty safe, and I'm pretty much, regardless of form, I'm going to be wanting to put him in my team. But he's also relatively cheap at the moment as well, so he could be a bit more expensive by the time week 5 rolls around. Could be cheaper as well, but I guess that's a risk you take. And that's James Vince. He'll be batting near the top of the order for the Sixers. England international, under 100k. So I'm not really too hot on this pick, but I also think he's just a solid player that, that's a bit of thunder there. Anyway, he's a cheapish international that I'm going to want to bring in anyway, so I'm just going to start him as a safe-ish option. It leaves 130k in my bank. I've gone for someone doesn't really fit the mold of going hard after doubles because it is a Hobart player. But that is Shadab Khan. He's a Pakistani international, vice captain for them actually. And he doesn't have a double in the first 5 weeks, but I think he's just he's pretty underpriced, I think, for what he can do. He's going to be the main main spin option for Hobart. He is more than capable with the bat as well, although looking at that Hobart team, they are pretty stacked with the bat. So I think with the ball, he can definitely deliver. Only 12% of teams, but I think he's capable of scoring really well. He's obviously not going to see my field for the first couple of weeks with the 3 teams on the double in week 1 and looking to get 11 Scorchers players for week 2. So he's going to ride the bench, but I think, he will be a good player. I guess, if you don't start him, it's kind of a case of when do you bring him in, because week 3, you're going to be wanting to bring in Heat players, and then weeks 4 and 5, you're going to be trading in Renegades and Sixers players. So I could start without him and go Sixers player instead or Renegades player instead, but I'm somewhat confident in him at this price, and I kind of want to pick him just in case he gets away from people. could reach, 160, 170k by the time that people are looking to bring him in. So this is the team. Fairly confident in it. Faruqi is the one that I might change out depending on team lineups. And I guess I'll look at captaincy pretty quickly as well. So in terms of vice captaincy, you've got three teams on the double this week, and with so many loophole players, it's just rude not to do it. So you've got the Thunder and the Stars playing in game one, so you want to vice captain you want to vice captain one of those players. Could go Bolt, but I'm thinking that I'm going to go for either Sams or Sanger. Sams is just a very safe option. Will bowl at the death, might have an opportunity with the bat, and he is capable of scoring those massive scores. Sanger's a bit more of a pot option, but I think he's a decent shout as well with him going to have more opportunity with the ball as well. I guess for me, it'll depend how far up he bats. Like, if he's going to come in at 3, if he's listed at 3, then I'll consider him as a vice captain option. If he's at 4, then probably not. But I think he is a nice pod to go away from Sams. The other two to consider, got Trent Bolt. I guess he's kind of limited because he's only going to be a bowler. I think Marcus Stoinis at 83k might be overlooked just because he's really cheap. But he will have the opportunity to bowl. Should have a decent-ish opportunity with the bat as well. But again, batting at 4 or 5 in the middle order, it just limits the upside a little bit. So I'm going to go with Sams at this stage. Onto the captain. Adelaide are the team with the double that are playing in the second game. So I've got De Grandhomme and Khan. De Grandhomme obviously spoke about his ceiling before, but he doesn't really have a floor, so I am going to go with Rashid Khan here. If you have gone with Matt Short, I think he's also a pretty solid option as well. Rashid Khan I just see as a little bit safer. He's been a premier bowler for, about 5 years, I'd say. So Rashid Khan as a captain for me, Daniel Sams as a vice captain. And yeah, that sums it up. So that's the team. Might change it a little bit, but I think it's going to be pretty similar to this. Let me know what you've gone for in the comments section, any players that you think I might be missing. But yeah, any questions as well, put them down below. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you for the next one.